Hey, so I just wanted to do a little video on my Emsculpting machine, and I haven't planned this video and all, and I don't really want to plan it out because otherwise I'll just procrastinate and not do it. So I took a couple pictures of the machine, and it's called an Emslim, and I put my name here just so you know that I didn't just like find some pictures on the internet, and I actually bought this thing. So I've been kind of a fan of stuff like cool sculpting and like body, like at-home body improvement kind of stuff. And a lot of people have asked me, where I got my machine and how I did it and stuff like that. And the good thing is I'm actually pretty experienced. Well, I'm fairly experienced on Alibaba because I've had a couple of e-commerce businesses, and I'm not a total genius in it, but I thought maybe I could give some insight to people. And the only thing that I hope is that maybe you'll use the people that I show you to buy the products, and if you could mention you got it from Matt, maybe they'll give me a discount or something like that. But so there's two different places. There's called AliExpress and there's called Alibaba, and there's also eBay. But I think that Alibaba is probably the best. So AliExpress is kind of for smaller products. It's mainly, a lot of people use it for drop shipping businesses. So they'll basically sell something online and then China will send it directly to the customer. AliExpress is kind of for smaller items, not necessarily for it's not really a business to business company. It's more of a business to customer company. I actually got my machine through AliExpress, but I wouldn't recommend the supplier that I got it from. The reason I went through AliExpress, it's a little bit hard for me to remember. I actually went through Alibaba at first, and then I went through then that didn't work out, and then I went to AliExpress. I think that the people from Alibaba sold it to me, but they didn't ship it, and they just kept on procrastinating, and so I finally backed out of it, and I got my money back, and then I went to AliExpress. Because AliExpress kind of has a different way of rating people. It's kind of more like you're buying from Amazon, where you're buying, you're buying directly through a company as a consumer. So it's kind of more like that. And again, I'm not a total genius at what I'm talking about. So, but I think I know a little bit more than most people probably would that know that, I have some experience in these platforms. So, but the reason I came to AliExpress is because I thought I could find a place that had good ratings and I could just buy from them, and they would for sure send the thing to me and it would be on time. But I actually ordered in late December 2021, and I didn't get it until I think maybe early to mid-March. So it took forever to get here. And I used to get stuff from Alibaba, from a supplier for an e-commerce business, and they could get me stuff within 10 days, like they would put it on a plane. But since this is a heavier item, it's going to take quite a bit of time to get it shipped to you because it's going to be coming through the sea. Usually it's going to be coming, like my Emsculpting device probably weighs 100 pounds at least. It's hard to even say. I can barely pick it up. As you can see in the pictures, I actually have it. So I actually have it on a cart that I got, and sorry for the Reeboks box there, but I actually bought this cart on Amazon that it fits perfectly on, so if I have to pull it out of the closet. And then this part right here is a thing for an iPhone, and I know it's kind of weird, but when I'm laying down on a yoga mat, I usually like to hold on to the Emsculpting. I usually like to hold on to the thing with both my hands and kind of move it around. Like it'll zap me, and then I'll move it to a different part of my abs, and then it kind of comes in pulses, so you can sort of move it around a little bit. Or you can strap it on, but it's nice to have your hands free. So I just sort of have this aimed down at me with my phone, and I just watch something for 30 minutes when I do it. And you'll also see on my device, so mine's called an Emslim, and there used to be one called an Emslim Neo, and the Neo is the one that can. So the technology is radio frequency, also known as RF, and there's another thing called, it might be EMS or something like that. I don't know, but it's where it uses electromagnetic energy to flex your muscles. So it's a copy of a device in the United States called Emsculpting, but then there's a new thing called Emsculpt Neo. And Neo uses the RF and the electromagnetic frequency to make your muscles contract, but then the RF kills the fat cells. So the Neo kills the fat cells and works the muscles, but the traditional Emsculpting just works the muscles. And this is just an Emsculpting knockoff. It's not the Neo. But when it was advertised, it was called the Neo. So a big thing to watch out for is, so what they did is they sold me a machine that didn't have the technology that they said it did. So, I got ripped off. And the company that I bought it from also used a photo of a woman, like an attractive woman to sell the product, when it was really a guy. Because I actually, I had a different e-commerce business, and I had a pretty good connection in China. And she made the call over to the AliExpress guy where I got the product from, and they, she told me it was really a guy and stuff like that. So, if you really wanted to connect with her too, I could also give you her name, because she's in China and she's incredibly kind. So I speak with her through Skype. But anyway. So I'm not a genius at this stuff. I've just sort of, it's not like a huge passion of mine to go into AliExpress or Alibaba and try to buy stuff, but, I do have some experience. So when you get on Alibaba, so I'm going to log in real quick. I'm going to pause it and I'll log in. So when you're into Alibaba, now I'm going to, again, I'm not a total expert at this, but I think I have some experience that might help people. So, just sort of don't, completely think that I know 100% what I'm doing here. But, so Emsculpt's a trademark name, so you probably, it's going to be trickier to use that because they probably get in trouble for doing that. But when they're in China, they can kind of do what they want, because they can, they're not really outside of, they're outside of the United States, so it's kind of easier for them to do stuff that's not adhering to trademark laws and stuff like that. So you kind of just think of words that would be commonly used. I don't know, maybe that. And you're going to start to see the machines. This is crazy because they're using the actual Emsculpt stuff right on that image. But then you see when you go to their actual product, they don't show. All they do there. It's interesting. I mean, you're going to find all kinds of things in China, and it's hard to know what to believe and what not to believe. And so sometimes if you go really broad, like maybe Sculpt will do it, okay? Okay, so then the next thing you want to do is you want to go over to Trade Assurance, click that. Sorry, my screen's a little bit weird with this thing that I'm using. And then you can also so in the past there used to be ways to do it where you could look at the revenue of each company too. So yeah, you can kind of see like how long they've been, but you used to be able to filter by that. So there might be a way to do it. I don't really see it offhand, but there's probably a way to do it. But I would recommend using Alibaba instead of AliExpress. I think AliExpress, there's actually going to be a higher, I think you're going to pay more on AliExpress. A lot of those people are sort of designed to the consumer. These are designed more for, these businesses are doing businesses with other businesses, so there's going to be like a B2B sort of discount. They're not trying to they're not trying to increase their price to sell to Americans and stuff like that. So ideally, but then there's another thing where, another thing you could do is you could also just go to Google or YouTube and look up, like Alibaba vetting, like how to vet businesses in Alibaba, like stuff like that. YouTube's like a great tool for stuff like that. And, 'cause, I don't want to claim like I'm some expert at this, but, so anyway, you just got to kind of go in and look around, and I'm kind of a little bit stuck right now because I can't remember the last thing on how I found someone. Oh, but what I was going to say is sometimes there's going to be middlemen that will sell other people's stuff, and then there's other people that are producers they're the actual manufacturers of the product. So sometimes there's a reseller of the manufacturer's product, and then sometimes there's the manufacturer. And sometimes I think there's many manufacturers that are making the same product. So like my machine, I swear it seems like there's a couple different people making it, and then like they're actually manufacturing it, so they're getting all their supplies from someone that's selling them the parts to make it, and then they're assembling it and installing software on it and stuff like that. I think that might be how it works. I really don't want to try to, tell you much more because it's just really hard for me to really remember. I'm shocked that they're selling ones that actually say, oh, okay, so Emslim. So Emslim is the brand that I got, but of course, like I was saying, it's not necessarily a brand. It could just be a bunch of manufacturers that are, a bunch of suppliers are selling to manufacturers, and then they're putting a sticker on it. They could all have the same parts. They could have different parts. They might have different software. So it's just really tricky. Oh, one quick thing is, so the ones that have RF, that's the feature that mine didn't come with. So that's what Neo usually means. And those usually, I believe those applicators are going to be gray. They call them handles. So those are gray. But as you can see with mine is just called Emslim. It doesn't say Nova or Neo on it. I actually kind of think Nova may be the Chinese word for Neo, because I'm sure that they can't copy it directly. So it's supposed to be a knockoff of the Emsculpt Neo, but they're calling it the Emslim Nova. So, but the paddles, whenever they have the radio frequency, are going to be, and that's the stuff that's supposed to melt the fat. Which, by the way, I don't know if there's a ton of data on that being super effective, but I do think, the two technologies combined, might do something, but I'm starting to get to a point where I don't necessarily think that any of this is that remarkable. An interesting thing to do on a side note is to go to a place called RealSelf, and if you look up Emsculpting, oh, why isn't that working? Sorry, hang on a second. I don't want to waste your time with this, but if you look at RealSelf and you look under Emsculpting, I think it gets a score that's like in the 80s. I bet if I can find it better on Google. Yeah, I can't even, it's weird because sometimes you can go to Google and find your answers a lot quicker than people's websites. But so I could say 84%, which is fairly good. So this kind of gives you a general idea that Emsculpting probably does work. I haven't had amazing results with my thing. It does make me sore, and it does work me out. really, to build muscle, you need to have a caloric surplus. Like, you need to be eating more calories than your baseline calories. And then to lose fat, you have to be in a caloric deficit. So really what you should do with Emsculpting is you should eat slightly more calories and go high protein when you're doing it. And then like the following month or something, go on a diet. And then, you're going to see the results better. That's what I would think. That stuff's not written in stone, but that's pretty much, what anybody that really knows fitness will tell you. Not that I'm necessarily the most fit person in the world, but, from the research that I've done. But it looks like it's pretty good. So, if these things can actually do it, then I say go ahead and get a Chinese machine. I mean, why not? But anyway, I'm going to now show you a couple of the people that I was talking to, and I have one that I picked out. So there's another thing on Alibaba where you can actually put in a request of what you're looking for, and Alibaba is very hard to use. It's not a fun platform to use, and it's very confusing, and it seems like it was designed in like 2003. It's like very hard to navigate. And I actually was searching for something, but I actually posted a request, and I got all these people from China trying to sell me their stuff, their fat loss stuff. But I think this woman here, no, not her, her. Yeah, so I was going to try to say, so I was thinking if I worked with her, that I would send her business on Amazon, or on, I thought anybody on Reddit that wants a person, like she seems like someone that I thought seemed pretty good. I don't want to give you the person that I bought mine through because I feel like my supplier was actually kind of bad. So anyway, but to look at her, so we click on her name, and then we see her company here. And so I mean, if you wanna, I mean, this is the person you need. If you want me to give you this link, I can. Maybe I'll put this in my Reddit post or something like that. What is this thing? Sorry, hopefully you're doing okay watching this video. But let's look here. Okay, so well, to be honest, this doesn't really seem that amazing to me because I assume this is in this last year. They've only done 30,000. But they have 51 to 100 people. It's like, that's like no money and all for a business, so that seems kind of weird. But it does say manufacturer, so that's something I think you should try to look for. Because you know that they're not going to be the middleman then. But, you never know. I mean, maybe they're not a manufacturer. Like, I don't know how that's ever even really verified. I think it would be, though, for Alibaba. But let's just try to... So what I do with Alibaba, too, is let's say I start finding some machines that I like. I contact supplier, and I just paste them the same exact thing to all of them. And just sort of start vetting... what they're saying. So this is a machine like I had right here. But do you see that image right there? Like all the paddles see how those ones are gray? On mine, they're all white. And that means that I had the older machine that didn't have the Neo technology with it. So it didn't have the radio frequency element to it. So and actually on AliExpress when I bought mine, it said Neo right here, but the actual product didn't have it on it. So, I mean, but when you get something that weighs, 100 to 200 pounds and it comes in the mail, like, in from China, like, there's really no way you can really return it. So, but again, so here's kind of more where you can look more at this kind of stuff. So see how they're a trading company? So that means they're a middleman. I'm pretty sure. I mean, I'm not 100% about that, but you could probably just, look that up, like, on Google or something like that. You could just say, what is Alibaba Trading Company? Yep, see, they're the middlemen, and then the manufacturers are the people that are making it directly. So I try to find manufacturers. But anyway, so what I can do is I can go back to all the people that I've talked to. And if you hold down Control on your computer, or I'm sorry, I think it's Alt. Alibaba doesn't let you do it, I guess. But you can just start clicking on their numbers, or on their trading company, manufacturer, okay. But you can just kind of go in and sort of vet them, and you can probably mute people that don't seem to fit, and then. But this was one company that I liked, but after looking at it, it seems like they don't have a ton of transactions. So, but that data could also be off. Like, I mean, I bet it's impossible for them to inflate it, but I bet if they don't report it, it probably just doesn't get updated. So, I mean, that could be an issue. That could be what's going on here. So yeah, that's just very weird that that's only at 30,000. But the annual revenue is blank. Oh, so this is for like a different thing that I had going, a different business. So, but anyway, sorry I'm rambling. Let's just, I mean, the whole goal of this video is I was hoping that maybe, you or some other people on Reddit could buy through the person that I find, and then I could maybe get like a discount or something from that same supplier. So let's just try it again. Let's try Emsculpt, and then. So one thing you can do is like you can type in the keyword like Emsculpt, and then you can kind of look at the other words that they're using. So Neo would be kind of a good word too, But that's just so weird that you can't. So I always mark these two for sure. So a couple of years ago, you used to be able to sort with revenue and stuff, and that would be really helpful right now. I'm just going to pause it real quick, and I'm going to see if I can figure out how to do this. Hey, it's me. I just paused it, and I'm back. I was doing some research, and I found that if you do this is what I was mentioning earlier in the video, that you can actually post something, and then you can get people to email you. So that's called a request for quotation, an RFQ. So this is where you can The weird thing is I've somehow done this before where people have contacted me and I'm 100% sure that I didn't fill this out. So sometimes I think when you start chatting with people, like somehow they share it with other people and you get a ton of people contacting you, because I was pretty sure that's what happened to me in the last month because I got all these people talking to me, but I definitely don't remember filling this out. So I don't think that's what I did. But anyway, I was still trying to look for a way to filter. You know, another thing is you can start looking down at the reviews down here, which is kind of a new thing. I don't remember that really being a thing a couple of years ago when I used Alibaba a lot. But, you know, you can kind of start to look for, you know, the suppliers that have a lot of reviews too. But it's really too bad that it doesn't let us filter for that. So let's take a look at this one. Of course, it gets cut off. There's little glitches like this with Alibaba where it's just very hard to use. I don't know, that didn't go over very well, did it? Yeah, I wish there was a way to filter by revenue, because basically you want to find someone with good reviews, high revenue, and then I think you can start to just make a decision and buy someone. You know, the goal of this video is to try to give you the person that I was thinking about buying through, which would have been this person. I just really liked her. So another good thing is that she spoke really good English. And, you know, what you can do sometimes is you can go and, you can go to Google Translate and you can speak in Chinese to people. But the person that I bought from Alibaba was like not good at all, or I'm sorry, from AliExpress was not good at all to work with, and even when I could translate it, it didn't work well. But this woman I really liked. I mean, she spoke really good English. And this is the source that I thought I could give people on Reddit, and then maybe she could give me a cut, like a discount on if I ever order something from her. That's kind of what I was hoping. But you know, I don't want to mislead anybody, and I want you know, I want to make sure that she's good. But she's a manufacturer, and the only thing is that the revenue seemed a little low. So Anyway, I'm sorry I've been all over the place. Hopefully this did something. I feel like I gave quite a few little tips, even though none of them were too amazing. It's just really too bad you can't filter Alibaba. I don't know why it's like that. I think maybe they're trying to give the smaller companies a chance, and so they don't make it super easy to filter through them. But it's just so weird that you can't filter revenue and ratings, because you could only filter verified and then trade assurance, which are both really good things. So when you search for somebody, you definitely want to use trade assurance and stuff, because that helps back you up so you don't get scammed. So let's just look at that one more time. So you go to Alibaba, and then you type in, let's try Neo, see what that does. Okay, so that's going kind of broad. So sometimes I would just try something like Neo Fat, okay? And then, I would always make sure that trade assurance and verified supplier are checked. If you want to go smaller, I'd go to ready to ship, because actually, what I found out on actually both times I tried to order was that they didn't actually even have the thing built yet, so they had to like assemble it, and so sometimes they're just waiting to get your money so then they can fund the whole thing to put it together. So you might also want to try clicking ready to ship. And then you just got to kind of look at the ratings, I would think. MOQ means minimum order quantity, so you kind of want someone that's going to sell you just one, but usually on an item that's this expensive, they'll probably, be open to selling you one. I also try to look at like which products you see a lot of. So like I see a lot of the M-Slim looking products. I guess that is what I'm searching for. Like I'm using, so the Neo almost seems to be used by the same design. But I try to look at like designs that look common, because if there's some machine that doesn't look very common, then I wouldn't buy it because it's kind of less produced. You know what I mean? It's like kind of like you're buying a fancy car. You want to buy a Honda over, some rare car made in Italy that only like 300 people have, because the Honda is going to be more reliable. So you kind of want to get like the designs of the products that look like a lot of suppliers are selling, I would think. So that's kind of why I went with the whole M-Slim brand, because you kind of see those machines more often. This is weird because they're saying with RF, and RF is actually the paddles that this image doesn't have at all. So, again, remember I said earlier that the RF paddles, or applicators, whatever you want to call them, are actually gray, or they actually told me they're black, but I think they're the gray ones, because you can see the machines will often have gray ones, actually just like that right there. This machine, by the way, isn't really a bad one to get, I wouldn't think, because so my machine, my machine looks like this, but remember mine has all white paddles, but mine has 4 paddles, but mine doesn't say, so the machines used to say M-Slim or M-Slim Neo, but now they're saying EMS 0, I've noticed on the newer ones that look like mine. But I assume this one, I think the 0 is the new word for Neo. I'm assuming there's some trademark stuff with the company in the United States, because now they're not even saying. So they went from Emsculpt was the real brand, and then M-Slim was the copy, but now I'm seeing them called EMS or EMS zeros. But yeah, these gray paddles are the RF. So RF is radio frequency, and it's like where it brings your subcutaneous fat to a certain temperature, and it's supposed to destroy it. And again, my machine didn't have that with it. But this actually looks just like a 2-paddle, and I thought it was a 4-paddle. So what I was going to say earlier is, by the way, mine has 4 paddles, but I don't know if I would ever use all 4. I think it's kind of a waste of money, because to hook up your entire body to all the paddles is kind of a pain, especially if you're doing it by yourself. Like a lot of people, in a clinical setting will have like a doctor or a nurse or whatever to apply them and hook you all up while you lay down. But if you're doing it by yourself, like it's really hard to use, all 4 of them. I usually just use 1 or 2. I put 1 directly on my abs, or I use 2 on my abs, where it's kind of one sort of on. I kind of put them side by side, so it kind of covers more of my abs. But when you use one, it kind of gets right in the middle better, and it sort of seems to work better in a way to use one sometimes, and then but the two sort of hits a broader area and kind of hits the sides more. So I kind of just alternate them. But this machine's definitely smaller than mine because mine has four. Mine has four plug-in slots. But the machines have definitely changed. There's quite a variety of them. Sometimes you'll see that they share the same parts. And I trust like my machine. I don't love it because it didn't come with the RF. But as far as the quality of how it's built, it's actually really nicely built. Like everything's very solid. One of the actual holders did come cracked because the box is so heavy that it's sent in. It comes almost like in a case that you get from like a that you would carry musical instruments in. But again, I probably wouldn't get the 4 paddle. I'd probably get a 2 or 1 paddle. But they've started to look a little bit different. Like this machine, this is kind of the 2 paddle of the same design that I have. But they're starting to get a little bit. There's newer stuff coming out. I wouldn't buy something like this because I haven't seen this ever before. It looks. It might be great, but it's just there's not enough. I haven't seen enough of these for me to really trust it. You know what I mean? So here's the good old Emsculpt Neo. This is like a full-blown one that has wheels on it. Which, if you want 4 panels, I would probably just do this, because mine looks. Mine looks a lot like this, but it's with 4 paddles. Yeah, so I mean, you're going to kind of see that the whole Emsculpts. Let's just try Fat Sculpt, okay? Because that's very broad. I'm not using anything that might be like a brand. But if you look, you're going to kind of start to see a lot of the Emsculpt machines still come up, and that's like what made me choose it. But they're not quite as common as they were like a year ago when I first started to get into this. Honestly, I think you could probably do okay with any one that you get, as long as like see these are both similar looking, so that kind of makes me more confident in this design. You know what I mean? But see, here's the Emsculpt again. Here's another one that looked like these. This is what you'll notice when you buy stuff from China, is you'll find a lot of people are selling the same looking stuff. Here's another Emsculpt. Another Emsculpt. I don't know if I've ever even seen this design before. Oh, so weird. That's like a 2-handle one, but it's on like a weird stand. Oh, this is the same company that I was liking. So, in a lot of times, you're going to start to see that it looks like there's tons of companies selling, but a lot of them are just, there might be 15 companies, but this is displaying like all their products that matched. So, I wish Alibaba was easier to search. I swear they're making it kind of complicated just because it probably allows them to have more sellers competing. and some of these bigger machines, if you want to get like a 4-handle bigger machine, like just go for it, because I mean, even my machine, I thought it was going to be a lot smaller, but it still takes up my whole closet. So it's like, if you want a full-blown machine that stands upright, just go for it, because even if you get a smaller one like my size, it's still going to consume quite a bit of space, So if you get a taller one, like, why not just go for it, Because mine actually is on a dolly, so it's kind of just equivalent to what this is. I think the bigger machines. So I mean, you can also kind of look at like the Tesla and stuff like there's like a magnetic currency called Tesla. Here's like a machine almost exactly like I got. So anyway, what I was saying is the bigger machines might have more Tesla, so they might be able to have more pull in the contractions that they give you, but I'm not really sure. I don't have a ton of confidence in that kind of stuff, but you might want to just start like a Google sheet on like what kind of Tesla they're advertising and try to get the one with the higher Tesla that's the right size. So anyway, this is like the machine that I got, but mine has white paddles. It doesn't have the Neo paddles, and it looks small. You think this thing could fit, on like your desk or something, but it's huge. I mean, you saw it next to a shoebox. Like it's a massive device. And, once again, my panels are white because it doesn't have the RF, even though they said it did. And another thing is, if you look at all the machines, they'll often all have the same technology. They always look like this, which is kind of a clone of the Emsculpting that occurs on the machines, or the technology that's on the Emsculpting devices in the United States. So that's kind of cool that they pretty much directly copy it. But yeah, so this is like the big box that it comes in. But anyway, hopefully I've been some help. I know that so it comes like this. I know that I haven't been, a holy grail of great, I think I've said some valuable stuff, but I know that I didn't say everything. That was like, I know I didn't say the answer to everything. But yeah, so here's the, where you can come down and see like the Tesla and stuff like that. Let me see. Some of them don't even, this one doesn't even say it, but, you can kind of look at the wattage and different, stats here. A huge thing is this if they speak good English too, because a lot of these people are like, I almost trust someone that speaks good English more than a supplier that speaks good English more than someone that doesn't, because I'd almost sacrifice some of the metrics like their revenue and stuff for good English, because it there's a lot of questions that you can have during the process, and the whole shipping process is pretty tricky at times. So what happened with my last supplier is, so they sent it through the ocean. It came into Long Beach and Los Angeles, and then there was another guy that runs a company that picks it up from the ship, brings it to a warehouse in Los Angeles, and then they have, then that company hires UPS or FedEx or whatever to ship it to your house. He actually had pretty good English. I can also connect you with him. Let's check out this company. Yeah, see, I don't know how to view their stat. Like, it's just very not user-friendly at all. It says 15 years here, and then it says 1 year here. Like, I'm trying to look for that little stat that would show up that I was looking at before. Oops. You know, I feel like an idiot because earlier I was showing you where you could click and you could see the stats of each company that you search for, but now I can't replicate that. Ooh, another big thing is you can see right here, some of these are ads. Wow, I didn't even notice that before. Oh my. I'm so sorry. I have no idea how I was doing that about 15 minutes ago. But as you can see, it's very frustrating to use Alibaba. I'm gonna actually pause it because I have to figure this out. I don't want to waste any more of your time. So I'm gonna pause it. I'll be right back. Well, I'm back. I have no idea how I was doing that before, and I'm really sorry, but there was a way for me to see the stats on all the people with like a click of a button. I don't know why it's not there right now. I don't know. I would have to go back in this video and see what I was doing earlier because I can't replicate it. But it's interesting if you look at the reviews. So an interesting thing is to see how a lot of these are ads, but the real results start here. And you can see so we have trade assurance and verified supplier, so that's good. The word I used was Emsculpt, which probably isn't the best search term. But anyway, the results start to kick in here. Then you can see the reviews. I mean, this is just from my experience from today, is I would start to look kind of at the reviews. So this looks like a good supplier here. They have 115 reviews. This guy is 34. This is 108. So they have the one that I like, the sort of Slim brand. Oh, so this is the view more. Yeah, so actually this supplier looks pretty good. I mean, these numbers look more realistic. It's still just tricky for me to navigate, and Oh, I don't like how there's not free shipping. That's not good. You know, I'm sorry, I made this video thinking I could give kind of clearer answers, and I feel like I sort of opened up a can of worms of what Alibaba is. But hopefully I gave you guys some tips on, how to make it a little bit easier, and I appreciate you taking the time to watch this. There's one last thing that I wanted to show you, and it's a company called Fiverr. So Fiverr is a place where you can go in and you can get any sort of little job done. So one thing that you can do is you can go to product sourcing, and you can find some people in China that will help you source it from China. So a good thing to do here is to go to services, not experts, go to services, and then go to seller details, go to top level 2 or top rated. And a guy like this for $25 will find you a great person to buy from. There's also a site called 1688, which is all in Chinese. And if you convert it to English, you can get discounts like as if you were in China. But it's pretty difficult to use. I mean, this is if you really want to go deep into this. But you can sometimes find someone like an Alibaba that could search stuff in Chinese and really just dig around for you to find that. So basically everything that I've tried to show you today, they can do because they're experts in it, So you can pay $15-20 and find someone that's an expert at finding stuff. This person too, but I try to go for the people that have a lot of reviews, and it's kind of the same thing. We're trying to find people here that's kind of like searching on Alibaba. You just have to sort of dig around for the best people, and then they'll help you sort through the, all the BS over here. So, anyway, that's it. Sorry I've been all over the place. I know this was a very long video. Hopefully you could watch it while you're relaxing somewhere and it didn't take a ton of your time. Okay, well, thanks for everything. All right, bye.